Hi and welcome to another episode of Spectrum Stories.
Always felt like that's not my cup of tea. A big dhoka kind of a feeling that we carried. And I always was passionate about connecting with people.
I told you he's very interesting.
Because see, there's a difference between a teacher, a trainer, and a facilitator. These kids were not very serious.
Today we have Prasad Kapileshwari with us, who's going to tell us something amazing, interesting, and very, very personality development helpful things. So let's jump into the interview right away. Hi.
Hi, hello.
And please introduce yourself and tell us elaborately what exactly you do, how you started, how do you find this thing so passionate about to do, and a little bit about you in your personal self, about what's your hobbies or things that you like to do.
All right. I'm Dr. Prasad Kapileshwari, and I have been into the teaching fraternity, or you can say the learning and development fraternity, for the past 18 years. Did my MBA way back in 2006, and then worked with a corporate, but always felt like that's not my cup of tea. Because 1 year down the line, I realized that it's getting too mechanical. And importantly, way back then in 2006, approximately, I remember it was the jobs that were given to us were said so, and what we deliver was totally different.
Oh,
Okay. So I remember it was a big dhoka kind of a feeling that we carried. So then I said, like, this is not what I want to do. And I always was passionate about connecting with people, trying to help resolve issues, give them a direction, kind of an orientation. Back then, didn't know this clarity wasn't there, but definitely had an idea of wanted to do something on these lines. And then I got first assignment of teaching in 2007 after
wow.
1 year of corporate work.
Okay.
And that's exactly when I got into, I remember it was a batch of 16, 17 students in a disaffiliated university, which was adopted by one local university. And then one of the head of the departments then called me and said, why don't you take up just 35 hours and finish off a syllabus? And they gave me a subject called MIS or something like this. And I myself remember how I had cleared that subject when I was doing my graduation.
It's
Then
like the karma coming back to you.
Absolutely. So I remember that, and then did a lot of homework, studied a lot of books, and then started delivering the classes. And I remember my first hour. I mean, just passed out from college 1 year. I mean, how do you expect to look like? Just another teenager, kind of a thing. So these kids were not very serious. They didn't want to take me seriously, though I was trying my best. And then the journey began. So with that sort of a doldrum kind of a thing, the journey began, and then landed up with an institute in Belgium called Jain College.
Wow.
Picked up a full-time teaching assignment for the BBAs. So worked with them for 3 years, and then they liked my work, they liked my involvement, the kind of things I used to do there. So they promoted me to take up a master's to teach for the masters. So masters was a new ball game altogether, because the level of maturity with the kids is far different, and it has to be more on application orientation. So that's when I realized I should do a little more. Worked a lot on the subjects, things like that. 2014, I remember evidently, where it again started getting monotonous. Because again, I felt like it's the same old subject.
Yeah.
I mean, what am I going to teach? I mean, today I'm teaching you definition of HR. Tomorrow I will teach you what are the processes and maybe XYZ PQR. I mean, how different can it get?
Yeah.
And that's when I felt like, nah, this is not again I want to do. So then in 2015, I started, I remember I picked up training. So I underwent a lot of certification programs to be a trainer, because see, there's a difference between a teacher, a trainer, and a facilitator. There are 3 different domains.
Okay.
So I started as a teacher,
trainer, or facilitator.
Yes.
Okay.
So I started as a teacher, then wanted to be a trainer. So then took up a lot of certification programs in Bangalore, in Pune, where I underwent 4-5 days of intensive training. Okay. So they helped me fine-tune certain trainer skills in me.
Okay.
And that's when I started realizing that teacher was nothing.
Okay.
Being a trainer is such an elevation. It's like opening up your self, kind of a thing. And then it began. So started with trainings. And then I think it's been 10 years now that I've been into training. Started with all basic trainings for corporates and institutions. Now I train the middle-level managers on the performances, sometimes coach them on how to improve and enhance the performances. Yeah, so that has been my journey all about.
I told you he's very interesting. लेकिन आपने अब ये जो बात कही that teacher, trainer और facilitator में 3 चीजों में difference होता है. So if somebody has to basic understand कि जैसे teacher और trainer के बारे में हमने बात की that teacher क्या होता है, trainer क्या होता है, जो आपने acquire किया skill, और facilitator then फिर क्या होता है?
Basically, teacher's job here is all about delivering concepts, giving knowledge. Yeah, that's it. So which, by the way, even Google and ChatGPT and all other platforms are doing today. So a trainer's job is largely to go beyond the teacher. So now it's like I can give you a piece of information and you will just record that in your mind and then good to go, maybe to plot that on a paper and get your marks out. Clear? So that's a teacher's job. But now a trainer's job is to possibly help you understand how can you apply those, where can you apply that, and how vividly you can apply that. That's the trainer's profile. And facilitator is largely to help you understand, after the application of whatever you have done, how much is it helping you, the organizations, or perhaps what value is it bringing up on the table.
Okay.
Yeah, so it is not just trying to help you apply, but trying to even foresee whether is this even going to be used in the coming year days,
Okay.
in the long run.
Okay.
So you evolve even beyond what you're doing right now in your job. That's facilitation job.
Okay.
A facilitator tries to help you do that.
Okay, and that is exactly what
Right now, yes, I'm into facilitation.
Facilitating.
Yes,
Training
yes.
and facilitating dono.
Both, yes. So the element of training goes to be around 40%. Facilitation goes to be 60%.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you actually आप जैसे elevate करते हैं इंसान के, once you review the performance, you tell them what can be the next thing for as a game changer for them.
Rather, you figure it out on your own. I just handhold you.
Oh.
So like if I can borrow the pen from you.
Sure.
Like, now if I have to train you, so I'm just going to train you how to hold it. Okay.
Okay.
So that's the trainer's profile.
Right.
The facilitation's profile would be allowing you to use it the way you want. So maybe all the calligraphies that are going to come out of this pen are going to be your own inventions. So you are now into a role which is helping you realize, where do you want to go?
Okay.
I'm not giving you the roadmap. You are deciding it for yourself. Provided I just give you that hand-holding patterns at required places.
Okay. And then with the help of that, the person decides how they want to go about in their career and move further ahead.
Move further ahead, yes.
Okay. Coming to that, what instantly came to my mind was, now since we have अभी तो ये facility है companies में कि आपको trainers होते हैं, facilitators होते हैं, लेकिन instantly ये question है कि मैंने देखा है recent survey में that being the the Gen Zs are the most difficult people to work with. I'm sure you must be dealing with it, with the situation, dealing with it and stuff like that. So what is like your take about it? कि ये ऐसी situation क्यों है कि क्या ये लोग समझ नहीं पा रहे हैं या cultures बदल रहे हैं या what exactly is happening?
Well, we have to, now when we talk of this millennial generation, to be very honest, we cannot really stick only to this generation and speak only about this. It dates back.
Okay.
So we talk from a number of generations, like we have the baby boomers, which were born in the 1945s. And why boomers is because, the World War II had just got over and the population wasn't there. So this gave birth to a lot of people, a lot of kids. So they became the next generation X. Okay, Generation X are the ones who were born in the 1960s approximately, 60s or something then, who may be our parents today. Okay, so that was Generation X. So now if you see the behaviors, the resources available and all those things, okay, that all these generations saw, okay, like the baby boomers, no resources, nothing available. So whatever little they have was the concern.
Right.
Okay, so mint it, keep it, save it, kind of a thing. The Generation X was a little privileged, a little more, because they had seen that whatever scarcity again, but still they were having a plus element there. Okay, then came the Generation Y, which were born in the 1980s approximately, where I believe I and you, most of us fall into the Generation Y. And then we have the millennials, which were born after the 95s approximately. And then we have the Generation Z, which is born in the 2010 onwards.
Okay.
Or also they are called 2010, or you can also call them alpha generations. Alpha millennials, you can call them. So now one thing what I've noticed is all these generations that we have seen, they have grew from scarcity. And to a larger extent, the Generation Z that we belong to, Generation Y that we belong to, I'm sorry, have done enough for their children. And our children are the millennials.
Correct.
right? So we have done enough.
Hmm.
So there's no scarcity.
Yeah, absolutely not.
They don't feel the need to go out, find it, because everything is available at the tip of the finger, either in the form of the apps,
Yeah.
information,
Yeah.
or a lot of things.
Now there is an AI to answer everything.
Yes, absolutely. The chat GPT, the DeepSeek, and a lot of other things.
Yeah.
It gives you everything. So
Yeah.
do you really think there is a need for this generation to, when like we say, जब हम पानी में गिरते हैं तब हम हाथ पैर मारना सीख जाते हैं, तो उनको हाथ पैर मारने की जरूरत क्या है, जबकि हर एक चीज आज आसपास है उनके. So I feel this generation needs to be taught the lesson the hard way.
Oh.
As in, allow them to fail.
Allow them to fail. Right.
You have to allow this generation to fail to make them understand
Correct.
where they're standing.
Right.
Because they don't get the perspective that we give.
Yeah.
Like to just give you a little more about this, we have something called as VAK, visual, auditory, and kinesthetic generations. Not the generation, but a normal style.
Okay.
Like there are some people who learn through auditories, who listen and they remember it and they have it with their memory for a long time. Auditory skills.
Okay.
So you learn a lot through auditory.
Okay.
Then we have the visuals. I see things and I learn.
Right.
Which I think I and you might belong largely to.
Yeah.
And then we have the kinesthetics, who may not really prefer the auditory and the visuals, but they want to do it and learn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and this is not just associated with the generation though, but this is there throughout general learning styles of people. So this millennial generation that we are dealing with is largely a kinesthetic generation. Okay. Because they want to do a lot of things, provided they should be allowed and given that type of environment. And then they learn from their own mistakes.
But do you think that training them is a little more
Yes, absolutely
difficult?
Yes. They are a very difficult generation to be dealt with. A number of reasons why I can say that also. Their attention span's weak. I mean, I don't know how far you are able to resonate with this, but
I can resonate with anything.
Their attention span is very weak. So you can't hold them for an hour or two. Yeah? You can't hold them. Hour also is a way too big talk for them. In fact, if I ask them to sit for an hour without doing anything, they can't. They just can't. And that is the reason why the interview patterns in the companies also are changing now. They're not just doing on the table interviews where you call them and conduct an interview. That doesn't happen. Okay. So there were a couple of companies who are having who are extending the rounds to a round where they have to sit in a room. Simply sit in a room. They'll call you for the next round. There's a camera kept somewhere at the corner observing you. What do you do in that time? So they're observing, because every job requires you to be stably sitting and performing.
Correct.
And if this generation isn't showing that stability of sitting in a place, focusing on a piece of information or piece of work, then how do you think they're going to deliver results? And hence the interview patterns also, the rounds that they're conducting also are gradually changing. Just to capture and know what is the best with this generation, how can you do that? And also difficult, I say, is because they seek variety.
Is it?
Yeah, they seek a lot of variety. They have a lot of variety now. So when they have a lot of variety, why do you think they would want to? If you go back into our times, we used to have only 1-2 cartoons. Remember? Yeah. We used to have Tom and Jerry, or we used to have Mickey Mouse, and that used to not come every now and then. Yeah, it used to come once.
Every Sunday.
Every Sunday. Yeah. So that was a time when we used to usually
actually wait for the Sunday morning, and you sit and you watch. Yeah. And I remember I was being allowed that 2 hours to watch it. And then अगर कहीं से महाभारत या रामायण शुरू होने की आवाज आई तो ये बंद करके सब लोग suddenly there is like 10 people in the hall, everyone in front of the TV.
True. But now you notice it's not so. And like even commercial ads then used to be fun. We used to watch every commercial ad that used to Nirma, for that matter, any for that matter. We used to see it complete. But now you just see once a commercial ad is there, the channel changes. Yeah. So now you see the diversity that these guys are surrounded with, and hence they are very fickle. Thought-wise, they're very fickle. I mean, not to talk the negatives only, they are equally intelligent.
I think somewhere I feel, correct me if I'm wrong, they're actually over intelligent, probably really smart enough to understand of saying a yes or a no. Yes. And they know that they have the power to say no. So they just apply it. I think that's my observation, because I have a brother and from the same generation. He's like, he would just say no for the fun of it, like just say no,
And
because
then observe what comes to that
yeah,
no.
yeah.
What is the result that comes
But
out of
does
it?
that happen?
Yeah, they do. On purpose. They do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do it on purpose. They know at the most what can happen.
Hmm.
They know the consequence, and they're ready to face the consequence, because at the end of the day, if anything goes wrong, parents are there to protect them. Or there's a backup in forms of resources always there. Some sort of a backup is always there.
But then do you think that because this is happening again, another issue that has been largely come to notice is that के लोग आजकल या बच्चे आजकल जॉब नहीं करना चाहते, 9 to 5 का जो कल्चर है वो नहीं करना चाहते, और इंस्टाग्राम की वजह से ये जो फ्रीलांसिंग जॉब का जो कल्चर है वो या इंस्टाग्राम पे तुम कुछ चीज़ें कर सकते हो, इन्फ्लुएंसर बन सकते हो और फिर इसमें से कमा सकते हो. सो आई थिंक समवेयर द इम्पोर्टेंस दैट अ 9 to 5 जॉब जो हमको सिखाता था, एक डिसिप्लिन आती थी, या all of that, do you think that all of this that I'm talking about is happening, and
Yes,
how is it affecting?
It is happening. We call it the gig economy. Gig, G-I-G, gig economy. Yeah, we call that the gig economy. Basically, it's economy which allows you to do a lot of moonlighting, where you can take up multiple jobs.
My God, there's so many new words. Please, can you explain what's a moonlighting?
No, what happens is, like, see, I'm doing a 9 to 5 job, okay, and then in the evenings I want to do something else.
Okay.
Maybe to quench my thirst of hobby.
Okay.
Maybe my hobby, like maybe I'm a guitarist. So in the evenings I may want to play it in a club, or want to play it in a restaurant. So that money may not be really important to me, but just to quench the thirst of my hobby that's driving me, or keeps me going, or forgets my stressful environment around. So maybe I want to get into moonlighting. So I want to take up a job in the evenings. That is one. The second aspect of a moonlighting is maybe you want to support yourself financially, and hence you're taking a second job in the evenings, which many people also do. Okay, so we have to look at that part of it. So gig economy is one where a lot of moonlighting is allowed. And that is what this generation sees. Now, like, say for example, 9 to 5 jobs are good, is what even I believe, because like you said, they set a lot of discipline and all that. I agree. Along with that, in the evenings I want to do something which I feel might be my plan B 5 year 10 year down the line. I mean, in fact, even I started the same way.
Okay.
I used to do 9 to 5 jobs. In fact, now also I do that. But when it comes to my trainings in 2015, when I began, it was always one training in a month.
Okay.
Or 2 trainings in a month, because initially people hardly knew me in terms of what I'm doing, and trust factor also is an important thing in training. So they didn't know my quality of piece or what I'm throwing there. So but I did keep that going. I didn't let that go away, because I was getting less contracts or something. I didn't let that go. I kept that thing going. So that has now served me after 8-10 years. Imagine had I got. So gig economy largely helps you with these aspects also. Okay. Allows you to take up multiple jobs, kind of a thing. Okay. But like you said, you're coming back to your question of is that 9 to 5 job going? I don't see that going. No, it may not go away, because these jobs which we are looking at as moonlighting, or the ones which we do sometime in the evenings and all, are not long lasting jobs. May not always be long lasting until and unless it's not been given a proper direction, and you leave the 9 to 5 and focus completely there. Till then, no. Yeah, but 9 to 5 always is going to remain. It's going to remain.
Oh, that's really very nice and good to know that, because it has a very different impact. It gives you the opportunity to train you in a certain way, ताकि आगे आप जो करना चाहते हो उसके लिए अंदाज से एटलीस्ट तुमको ये पता चल जाता है कि किन चीज़ों की ज़रूरत होती है. But then again, coming down to your trainings and understanding, I have this list of questions with me. So the first one that I want to start off with is that अगर किसी को समझना ही है तो why is it important कि किसी का work review होना चाहिए? Obviously for the sake of growth तो होना ही चाहिए, but how do you look at it as such, being like a trainer, and what comes out of it, like उसके results usually क्या होते हैं, and how does it help in betterment of the performance, या do people take it seriously? सच में लोग self introspection करते हैं, या फिर it's like okay, कंपनी ने सेट किया वो रूटीन है तो करके बस.
Well, yeah. Now, coming to the first section of first question that you asked, how does it happen? Well, basically, trainings, how corporates work on trainings is they check the performances of employees.
Correct.
And the manager finds that maybe there's a dark horse in the employee.
Okay.
Dark horse as in a lambi race ka ghoda.
Correct.
Maybe he is not able to identify his own potential.
Okay.
So let me put him up on a training.
Okay.
Okay, let me put him up on the training, any topic which they feel is that is one area that he or she is lacking. So maybe that person would want to undergo that. So the manager puts. Now coming to the last question which you said, like, is it like a routine because company ne diya hai isliye karna hai? Initially, yes. See, to be very honest, if I'm the manager and I have identified you, X, Y, Z, P, Q, R as possibly the dark horses, I may nominate your name for the training. But do you feel the need as an employee to undergo that training? Okay. So now here, in case if there's no provision where I'm giving you to tell me what you want in training, chalo, I feel training is mandatory. So let me ask you, what training do you want? If that provision isn't there and I just forcefully put you, नॉमिनेट किया आपको, बोला कि आप जाके अटेंड करो ट्रेनिंग XYZ, टाइम मैनेजमेंट के ऊपर ट्रेनिंग हो रही है, अगर तो आप जाके अटेंड करो, तो हो सकता है वो आपको मोनोटोनस हो जाएगा, बिकॉज आपकी वो तो नीड है ही नहीं, तो आप हाँ तब ट्रेनिंग फेल हो जाता है.
Okay.
But I feel most of the companies are evolving now.
Okay.
They're sitting across the table, talking to employees and saying them, I want to nominate you for so and so training. What do you say? At least the multinationals are changing the approach, and it is not becoming a drill. Where I nominate you, you go attend, and for 2 hours or 3 hours you sit there, in the AC, your coffees are served in between, you just randomly nod your head for what is said. वो नहीं हो रहा है अभी, तो वो myth change हो रहा है. So when there is a talk happening with the employee asking whether are you keen to take up a training on so and so topic, the employee has a say now, and then it does work. So ये हो गया ट्रेनिंग. तो हो सकता है 1 या 2 ट्रेनिंग के बाद आपको ग्लिम्स आ गया कि आपको करना क्या है. Point. So how coming to the second question of yours, which says like, does it help?
Does it help?
Yeah. So now say after 2 or 3 trainings, you realize that yeah, I understand now how to do it, but you're still not able to figure out. वो होता है ना कभी-कभी कि like you're just at the corner but not able to figure out where.
Correct. Right.
Okay, like when I was arriving here, I'm able to see that red dot. It's just 250 meters away, but I'm not able to find which way.
Which way?
So at that time, I feel coaching helps.
Okay.
Now, to just give you an example of how it works, do you really think Virat Kohli requires batting skills, or somebody should train him on how to bat? No. Do you really think he would require Sachin Tendulkar? They don't require trainers as such.
Yeah.
They require
coaches.
Now, what this coach does is he leaves you on your own to make. He observes you and he comes across that one spot which is your block spot, which is blocking you to open up.
Okay.
And he identifies that and he pins at that and tells you कि ये मत करो, या तो फिर ये इस हिसाब से करो.
Okay.
And that's the point, the eureka moment for you. Like, that's what I want to do now. यही करना था मुझे. And that's when you unleash the power. And that's where trainings, facilitation, like I said, or coaching takes this role.
Okay. So basically, agar iska, if you have to put it down in one moral of the story kind of a thing, ke it helps you in understanding you better, performing you. Corporate trainings helps in betterment of your performance.
Yeah.
And at the same time also, कि एक इंसान को figure out करने में help करता है कि कोई blockages होंगे तो वहाँ से move out, या you go beyond that certain point.
True.
And this is what it does to you.
Yeah. In
It's
fact,
like
it's the mental block. So you identify that mental block.
Correct. Since you've spoken about mental block, in that case, you must have come across obviously cases wherein you've been put across person who's extremely under a lot of stress or anxiety, because there's so much to obviously other than work as well. So how much, like, एक tendency होती है इंसान की कि काम पे जाऊंगा तो घर की सारी चीजें भूल जाऊंगा. I really want to know from you, does that funda really help a person, and how do they perform at at work about it? And the changing culture, which I've recently heard, is that substances are allowed in the office
Yeah,
for people to
absolutely.
focus more and do more.
I know.
And even when we spoke, you spoke largely
Mm,
also about substance and substance abuse as well,
mm,
and then how it
mm,
affects a person.
true.
So, a bit about all of these things.
Let me just paraphrase a little of what you said, because that it is one question nested in too many.
Too many
So
things.
I
Yeah,
just
I
let me
know.
just
I know.
break them into and
Yeah,
get a
like
glimpse.
micro questions. So, yeah.
If I have to understand your question, correct me if I'm wrong again. Was it like, are you trying to ask me how does? No, I'm sorry. I still didn't get the question right.
Okay. All right. In that case, um, a person who's stressed,
Mhm.
we usually have this tendency, okay, हम घर से बाहर काम के लिए निकल जाते हैं और कहते हैं कि काम करूंगा तो सब ठीक हो जाएगा.
Right, right,
Okay.
right.
But usually क्या ये attitude काम कर जाता है? And the second part of it is that when someone's under so much of stress and anxiety, how does it start affecting that person's growth or probably his performance at work as such?
Right.
And what are the behavioral patterns that you must have seen
Mhm.
there, and you've tried to improve it or try to make it a little better
Okay.
with your help? And with your help, then it became like a little better for the other person.
Okay, now, yeah, now I'm a little clear with this.
Yes.
Yeah, this thing of does a person, when he's in his work, he forgets his issues or anxiety? No, it doesn't actually, to be very honest. Uh, it depends on the personality type. Okay, now I remember this. Virat Kohli, once it so happened that his father passed away, and then he finished the cremation and then came back. Or I believe he didn't go for the cremation or something on the similar. I'd heard or I'd seen the video somewhere. He came back, he performed his test or his one day which was he was doing. He did do that, and now you are a different maid altogether.
Yeah.
This is a different make altogether.
Yeah,
Narendra Modi.
Yeah.
He cremates his mother, and after 2 hours of doing so, he comes back and resumes his office.
Absolutely.
It's a different make altogether. These are different. I think breeds. Yeah. Okay, one in a million. Okay, but largely, what issues you carry, or what anxieties you hold about home, or you do carry. You do carry, and the ones who have learned to tackle that have evolved. And that's where we see all these great personalities today. They have learned that.
They learn to tackle it, not push it under the rug.
You cannot. I mean, that's still there, somewhere. You can't really say it doesn't exist and you behave like. Then I think, just to give you a little bit of it, there's something called as amygdala in our brain, which is our emotional control center.
Okay.
And whenever there is you realize there is a danger coming, you either take a fight or a flight.
Yes, I've heard of that.
You heard about that? So amygdala. So in case of people who are something on these lines, who are like, हाँ हो रहा है जाने दो घर पे कोई गया है जाने दो मैं काम करूँगा kind of a thing. And I think their amygdala is an issue.
Okay.
But that's existing. The issue is always existing.
Correct.
Yeah. So this anxiety and stress that is there, there are ways to tackle it.
Okay.
There's always a lot of ways to tackle it, and like corporates do hire a lot of counselors to help the employees. Like now, Google is one best example here. Google is one company who takes care of their employees fantastically. So I remember the Zurich branch in Switzerland. If the employee is very stressed, they have a huge aquarium, a room full of aquariums. You just go there and sit and watch fishes. Psychology says that you tend to lose your stress when you see a fish playing around, moving around.
Is it?
And you try that. Okay. So they have it just for the employees. They have sleeping pots. Sleeping pots, like igloos.
Okay.
You just have to creep inside, play the music, and go to bed.
Okay.
So Google takes care of this stress and anxiety for the employees beautifully. So likewise, corporates are identifying what ways of helping employees revive through the stress and anxiety that they face on the workplace. The workplace especially. Okay. And to help them balance the work and the family, work-life balance, there's a lot of work that they do on work-life balance. Like again, why am I speaking a lot about Google is because this company is the one who in a very short time has done great. One. Second, they are genuinely people-centric.
Okay.
So in Google, they have a thing where the mothers, the single mothers, or who have recently delivered babies, they have a cradle. taken care of by the
Oh,
company.
the baby rooms.
Baby room. So they give them nursing hours, and there's a lady,
Right.
there's a nurse who takes care of the baby while the mother is
Right.
working up there.
Having said that, yes, companies are taking care and stuff like that. But at a personal level, have you ever found anyone who was extreme, probably in stress, and then that person didn't disclose, बताया नहीं गया, लेकिन आपको पता चला कि नहीं ये शायद ऐसे है, तो बिकॉज आई एम श्योर ट्रेनिंग पे भी तभी असर पड़ता होगा, तो किस तरीके से पड़ता है, एंड पीपल यूजुअली हाउ डू यू सी और स्पॉट stress in a person?
Okay, now I do train employees on stress management. There's a
Okay.
topic itself I have which is on stress management.
Okay.
It's a 3-hour training program, 3 to 4 hour max of training program. And what happens here is I have a lot of worksheets that I give them. So initially, to just gauge their stress levels, I circulate a worksheet. So they just fill in the worksheet, and then the results sometimes stun themselves, because the worksheet asks for some very basic questions.
Acha.
Like one of the basic question can be, so how do you spend your evening times? Okay, and they have to write something, or there are options given to them, kind of a thing. So these worksheets are there. So that gives them an idea, and also me an idea of where do their stressometer lie.
Acha.
Okay, kahan par hai, like high level of stress, low level, medium, average. That's one. But again, many people are good at faking that also. Like they manage to they manage to tweak it a little. Like they want to find the right answer in that thing, and वो हाँ ये अच्छा लग रहा है मुझे, तो मैं ये टिक करता हूँ, kind of. खुद जो करते हैं वो नहीं टिक करेंगे, उस ऑप्शन में से ये अच्छा लग रहा है मुझे, तो फिर मैं ये टिक करूंगा, kind of an approach. तो still that is one. But as in how they do other activities, which are not just that one thing, but many other activities that I do, I come across. So I remember this incident once. I was rolling out a training program on stress, and this participant was there, and I give a lot of instances of stress, like A हो सकता है, ऐसे हो सकता है, यहाँ से आ सकता है. So stressors we call it, which puts you into a stress. It could be, a travel can be a stress. A lot of crowd can be giving you a stress. Like now, if I'm talking to you like this, now if some 50 people stand here in front, and then I get immediately conscious. Maybe I may not be myself. I might possibly try to change my approach to talk, or maybe I might not give you a talk at all, because that is my stressor. Okay. Excessive crowd around is my stressor. Okay. Because I'm a peace lover. So likewise, stressors होते हैं. So this participant, I remember, was one who, when I spoke about one of the stressors, which was to do with family, his body language changed. Okay. I could easily gauge that he is not comfortable with me talking about this stressor, though it was a generic talk, not specifically or darting to him, but any which way, that hits him. Because he took it personally. And that's why I could gauge this is an element. So and very good candidate in that way. I mean, the way he was in the training program, the way he was involved and all, I found him to be very good. So then after I give a break, so in the break I just try to dig in a little to help him. He did mention a couple of things of why he is so stressed about this. He says work and all मैं manage कर लूँगा, पर फैमिली का थोड़ा सा है सर, जो मैं आपको अभी नहीं बोल सकता. आगे अगर आप कभी वापस आते हो ट्रेनिंग को तो मैं बता दूंगा आपको, पर अभी नहीं सर, मैं कंफर्टेबल नहीं हूँ and all that thing. So yeah, we do find. So there are a lot of stressors which puts people into, and that acts as a trigger. It's a trigger point for many of them, which the moment they get to know of it, they are like.
And have you had incidences wherein people were in this kind of a situation, and after your training, the person really changed, or
the managers tell me that there has been a change in their approach towards work, approach towards dealing with people, approach towards a lot of aspects. But again, like I say, I have my own way of analysis. Abhi agar 30 people are in my training room, I never expect all 30 to take a 360-degree turn and change altogether. Nahi hota. Right. Us 30 mein se agar 15 to 20 people also take it very seriously, they still have the capacity to bring in a sea change. So I always consider that 10 to 12 people as the ones who are immune to all these things. They just don't care. Like I said, मैनेजर ने अपॉइंट किया इसलिए जाके बैठना है ट्रेनिंग. Okay? पर वो जो 15 से 20 के बीच वाला नंबर होता है ना, वो ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है मेरे लिए. तो उनके ऊपर मैं बहुत ज्यादा काम कर सकता हूँ, और वो मुझे ट्रेनिंग चालू होते ही एक 15-20 मिनट में पता चल जाता है कि ये लोग इंटरेस्टेड कितने हैं, कितने लोग इन्वॉल्व होंगे, बिकॉज द वे वी इंटरेक्ट, द वे वी गेट द कॉन्वर्सेशन फर्दर, they do. Yeah, but they change. These 15-20 are the ones who actually show change on their workplace.
ओके.
Yeah.
एंड एक इंसान के पर्सनालिटी में एज सच कॉर्पोरेट ट्रेनिंग कैसे कंट्रीब्यूट करता है?
Overall
ओवरऑल
personality.
पर्सनालिटी.
नाउ लाइक आई सेड, टॉपिक्स होते हैं जिसके ऊपर हम ट्रेन करते हैं.
करेक्ट.
तो जो टॉपिक जिन को सूट हो रही है, तो वो ऑटोमेटिकली चेंज है. कि स्ट्रेस मैनेजमेंट वो हेल्प कर रहा है मुझे, तो ऑब्वियसली आई वांट टू टेक दैट सीरियसली. आई वांट टू कंसिडर सम ऑफ योर पॉइंट्स इनटू माय पर्सनल लाइफ. देन इट कुड बी, सो इट डिपेंड्स ऑन व्हाट टॉपिक आर यू टेकिंग एंड हाउ मच इज दैट टॉपिक रियली रेलेवेंट टू यू. If it is not relevant to you and if you don't feel the need, then it will never help you.
बट देन इन दैट केस कभी ऐसे हुआ है कि प्रॉब्ली पब्लिक स्पीकिंग की जरूरत नहीं पड़ती है कॉर्पोरेट जॉब में, डेस्क जॉब्स होते हैं यूजुअली, लेकिन किसी ने वो टॉपिक डील किया है एंड देन you know they've taken the training from you and then there is a sudden change that you also see in the person के ये helpful रहा है इस इंसान के लिए, ऐसे होता है?
Yeah, the managers, like I said, the managers inform. The managers still. The very fact that the corporates come back to me for a training basically is because I deliver results. They see the results. So the managers want that, let Prasad take it again. So the managers tell me many a times कि ये टॉपिक में से ये चीज वो दिखाई दे रही है हमें काम पे. जैसे कि प्रोक्रेस्टिनेट करते थे, वो प्रोक्रेस्टिनेशन लेवल्स कम हो गए उनके.
करेक्ट.
या तो फिर उनका भी द वे दे हैंडलिंग द पीस ऑफ वर्क इज प्रॉपर एंड सिस्टमैटिक स्ट्रक्चर में आ गया है.
ओके.
सो उस हिसाब से पर्सनालिटी में थोड़ी बहुत चेंज आने लगती है. हाँ, टू होल्ड इट.
You have to hold it.
You have to hold it. It's a bubble. Because you know, like I always say, motivational training programs जो होते हैं, वो आपको 1-2-3 घंटे के लिए ना फुल चार्ज अप कर जाते हैं. Like, you know, they give you that energy, like let me go and climb the Everest, let me conquer the world वाला attitude है ना. सुनते हैं ना हम लोग, तो वो energize, वो bubble होता है बस. Like I had read a beautiful quote somewhere where it said like motivation is like bathing. It's suggested every day.
Okay.
So sometimes, you know, these training programs, they do provide it, they hold it, they practice it, they put in some discipline in their work. Yeah,
that's great. And with that, what are the common problems or maybe drawback in a person, or common indicators which you see, which or even the companies, you know, probably inform you about कि ये चीजें हैं जो हमको राइट नाउ इन द वर्कफोर्स में थोड़ा सा प्रॉब्लम क्रिएट कर रही है, किसी का एटीट्यूड या किसी का यू नो probably under trained insan. So what are the most common factors that you deal in training a team or a person in?
Okay, the first thing is their interest levels. Like I said, sometimes they're nominated, they come and said because the manager ne bola hai. Or importantly, when I nominate you, for example, if you don't attend that training, your appraisals are affected. So at the end of the day, अगर आपके सोचिए कि साल में कुछ एक 12% का इंक्रीमेंट मिलता होगा आपको, तो क्योंकि ट्रेनिंग्स नंबर ऑफ आवर्स आपने अटेंड नहीं किए हैं, तो आपका वो 12% रिड्यूस होकर 10 पे आ सकता है.
Okay.
तो वो ना हो इसलिए आके बैठ जाते हैं कोई. ओके, तो वो सबसे बड़ा इग्नोरेंस से ज्यादा कैसा है कि इन लोगों को लगता है कि क्योंकि मेरे अप्रेजल कटेंगे
तो आके बैठ
जाएंगे. वो भले ही उनको हेल्पफुल हो या ना हो. Okay, they want to. So that is one challenge I face. Like I said, some of the set of people, 10-12 people always are those who are not interested. So that is one. Second, they are I know it all attitude. ये तो मैंने पढ़ा है मैंने, ये तो मैंने सुना है मैंने. Okay, so that is a difficult mind to crack, honestly, because these people are like मतलब एक तो they don't know the depth. Superficial information होता है उनके पास. This is a touch and go kind of people. So they feel that superficiality is the one which they know, and that is what is the epitome of their knowledge. ऐसे लगता है उनको. So they throw a lot of tantrums to the teacher and to the trainer, like in terms of like I know this. This is तो मतलब say something new kind of. So that's a challenge.
Okay.
That's a challenge that I see. So these are the two major challenges I see.
That you see.
Yeah. And then these ones, I know it all wale, are the ones who are the apples who spoil the others. So the neighbor, तेरे को याद है मैंने तेरे को ये बीच में एक रील दिखाई थी, तो ना वो ये वही बोल रहा है, देखिए, है ना. So now what is happening is I'm corrupting you also, and then now you are also sinking in with me.
Correct. Correct. But that's very dangerous.
That's dangerous. So now that's where the facilitator and a trainer's role comes in. Of how do you burst that bubble and try to isolate them or try to put them into an understanding कि भाई ये उतना ही नहीं है जो आप सोच रहे हो, इसके beyond है, kind of a thing. Yeah. And also but also what I've noticed is like these ones who is know it all people, they are the ones who are at the end, some of those are the ones who carry a great awe for you,
Is
because
it?
they carry it, because they are the ones who you, of all the training of 3-4 hours, you touched on some points which did convince them very powerfully.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
you busted a myth, right, that they're holding. So now it's like, fine, now ये मेरा एक myth इसने burst up किया है, तो अब I think is nice.
Ah.
So they carry
Okay.
great awe for you.
Okay.
Right? So that's
Okay.
also true. So you should know
Yeah.
what's that myth that you're supposed to break it down.
Break it down. Okay.
तो
That's
वो
great.
observe करना जरूरी है.
हाँ.
हो जाता है वो बस.
So you are a great observer, good observer.
Have to.
Have to be part of the job.
Absolutely. In fact, with the slightest of the body languages also, we tend to get to understand whether they are in or not.
That's great. Okay. I think we have covered most of it. It's just the grooming part is left.
Yeah.
And the dropout part, and the what basically this part, no,
Right.
is something which is like giving out a message from you, sort of, that don't drop out, do your career counseling, understand yourself, so that you have a good career further ahead. Because आजकल ये influencer और freelancer की वजह से drop out का number बहुत बढ़ा है
बराबर
इसके लिए. So we'll straight away then go into that.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Since we are now talking about work and work cultures and how you're making it better, there is also an increasing number of dropouts, if you see, and people not, or kids not approaching towards solid careers.
Right.
Which you are saying कि आज के तारीख में 9 to 5 solid careers available हैं और लोगों को लेने भी चाहिए.
Right.
So if I ask you कि इसके बारे में आपका क्या सोचना है, और what is it that one thing before leaving you would want to give out from you to the audiences कि ये चीज.
Okay, you mean to say the dropout ratios बढ़ क्यों रहे हैं?
And can you put a little light on the fact कि careers available हैं, and not to just frivolously have like a leave a college, leave your education and go somewhere. Strive at it, be at it, you will find something.
Okay.
What would be your take on that?
Okay, now, well, as far as his dropout aspects are concerned with the career, again, has the kid picked it up because it's a rat race? Everyone's running in it, so I have a.
But is it wrong to be in the rat race?
Well, it depends. If you don't have the skill, then you're in a wrong race, na. I mean, to be very honest,
you have to know and understand yourself better
before.
So if you know it, then it's okay to be a part of the rat race. Maybe you will win it also.
And maybe we may excel at, we may lead the rat race. Who knows?
Okay.
Who knows? Like now, I always say that. I mean, I remember I'm not a finance fellow. I'm a psychology and HR person. So I remember I had undergone a psychometric analysis long back. A person from Bangalore had come over to our institute and he got it done. And then when we had a counseling, he did counsel everyone. He told me, Prasad, don't even think of finance.
Okay.
Because it's not for you. You may suck in that job big time. So imagine if I would have still ignored that and gone with finance. I would have been possibly the worst finance manager, or maybe a worst finance teacher anywhere. Because I picked a wrong race. I'm a sprint, maybe not a marathon runner. Okay, maybe I'm designed to get into a sprint running and not a marathon. So I picked a wrong race. So people drop out because they at a point of time realize that they're in a wrong race. And good, they drop out. If they're going to take a right choice after the drop, makes sense.
Correct.
Makes sense dropping out. But it's a drop because they are not clear and they're not, the agenda is not clear to them where they want to lead, and simply they're dropping out. Then I think it's a suicidal.
Okay.
Because then the career goes on a toss. They don't know the directionless. Many times the kids go directionless. So it's very important that they need to have those mentors at right time. The students require proper mentors at right time. And let those mentors be well thought out mentors. So it's very, very important. And especially in the nuclear families that we are living in today, we don't see those mentors in the family. Because बच्चे तो हम parents को granted ले लेते हैं. Okay? और अगर हम पेरेंट्स अगर इन्फ्लुएंशियल नहीं है तो आप किसी को भी इन्फ्लुएंसर मान सकते हो. और द काइंड ऑफ जनरेशन, द काइंड ऑफ इन्फ्लुएंस वी सी आउटसाइड may not be a great influence.
Correct.
So I personally feel parents have to first learn to influence their children. So if a parent is not good at technology, learn it.
Okay.
So that you sink in with your child. The child comes back to you and asks or tells you or teaches you. So I feel that's where the dropout ratios can go low, where they identify right mentors first in the parents. Okay, if not, then maybe in the good teachers in the institutions who could be. Then to just randomly pick some influencer on a social media and say like I want to be like him or her and do, because वो अपने area में ठीक है, पर आपके skill sets उनके साथ match भी तो होने जरूरी है ना. That's also equal. So dropout ratios can go low only if they have a great mentor. Okay. They need to be directed at the right time. Okay. This is what you need to do. Okay.
And do you do career counseling as well?
Sometimes I do that. Right now, I don't get that great time to do so because a lot of assignments at my workplace as well as my trainings. But earlier I used to do a lot. I used to help people a lot in understanding. Now I do mentoring only to my students, some of my students, and that too I pick. I pick my mentees. It's like, because I have to be rest sure that my invested time goes worth.
That's again true. That's again true. But do you think कि career counseling करके लो या aptitude tests जो होते हैं वो करके लो, तो वो initial stage में अगर हुए तो helpful होता है students के लिए?
Yes, it does. It just gives it's tip of an iceberg again. Correct. A lot of things are there to be identified. Correct. So but it does.
But शुरुआत हो जाती है.
हाँ, शुरुआत हो जाती है. एटलीस्ट एक डायरेक्शन मिल जाता है आपको कि हाँ, मतलब इसमें ठीक है, ये कर सकते हैं, काइंड ऑफ थिंग.
And that helps further ahead again also in defining how and what you want to go. But usually ये tests एक आपके say for instance कि commerce, arts और science है, और अगर बच्चा aptitude test देता है तो at least they get to know कि which stream they are good at and they can apply in.
And also you can, the grades also speak so much na. I mean, in case like अगर science लेना है तो फिर 8, 9, 10 का maths देख लीजिए आप, science देख लीजिए, उसके scores देखिए, how many projects he or she has been really doing well that they can land into a science type of a project, what intrigues them. Okay, वो भी तो देखना है. Okay, अगर डिस्कवरी इंट्रीग नहीं कर रहा है तो फिर नेशनल ज्योग्राफिक इंट्रीग नहीं कर रहा है और वीटीवी एमटीवी ऑल दिस इंट्रीग कर रहा है, तो हो सकता है कि बंदे में साइंस so मतलब ऑब्जर्वेशन से भी पता चलता है. टेस्ट हेल्प करते हैं, नो डाउट हेल्प करते हैं. वो जरूरी नहीं है कि हमेशा से ही वो राइट डायरेक्शन पे डाले. आई थिंक दीज स्मॉल थिंग्स हैव टू बी टेकन इनटू कंसिडरेशन.
Okay.
So when earlier when I used to do counseling, more than the child, I used to ask the parents, how does the child spend his time, how many hours in TV, what channel, what show, okay, have you checked his her mobile history to check what are the videos or maybe the shows or watching, so that you get an idea of not to be a spy, of course,
at least
एक पैटर्न पता चलती
चल
है
जाती है
वो किस टाइप में, किस में ज्यादा इंटरेस्ट दिखा सकता है, kind of.
Okay, and then the last section, the last question, we call this myth debunking. Okay. Wherein you give me 3 to 5 myths around the whole section of corporate training as such. जो आप देखते हैं, you exactly laugh like this कि अरे
honestly, when we speak about these myths, I mean, not just trainings, but generally into teaching fraternity, I've seen.
Okay.
There has been a myth that a professor has to be a grey-haired, old, boring, big belly pot, and maybe, I don't know, people, they don't accept a youthful teacher.
Okay.
They don't want to. They find it very difficult. Even with the millennials is the case.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Very much.
Okay.
So that I think...
It's very interesting to know that. That a person's appearance is already predefined.
And they have it back. Freezed.
Okay.
तो टीचर होनी तो ऐसी
होनी चाहिए, बोरिंग ही होनी चाहिए.
वो हमेशा चिल्लाएगी या फिर हमेशा कंट्रोल करेगी, काइंड ऑफ थिंग. जरूरी नहीं है ना. So that is first myth I feel in the teaching fraternity one should really
accept however the person looks. Don't have
not
things in your
don't
head.
go on the on maybe the appearance or the dressing or not at all. No, that is the one myth I feel. Second, the older you be, the more knowledge you have. I think that's a totally wrong notion we're holding.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the older you be, especially in the corporate trainings I've seen, they ask one question to me. So how many years in training, Prasad? I said 10 years. Oh, that's very less, no, Prasad, is what they come. Then I said, like, have you seen the work I deliver?
Yeah.
They haven't seen. Have you
Right.
seen the results I deliver? No,
Right.
haven't seen.
Right.
So then you just can't say that with the years of experience I'm holding. Well, I have come across a lot of trainers who have 20 years and they still deliver mediocre level of
Results. Yeah.
results. So then you have to sometimes try and test.
Hmm.
The older one gets is not what
Hmm.
the knowledge grows, but
Hmm.
wisdom doesn't come that way,
Hmm.
is what
Hmm.
I believe. Yeah. So these are the two myths I feel
Hmm.
is one really needs to see. And a third one, people coming from tier 2 cities are
Hmm.
like not greatly exposed, so they may not stand the
Hmm.
cosmopolitan and metropolitan culture.
Hmm.
Wrong again.
Is it?
Yeah, totally wrong, totally wrong,
Absolutely.
because see, I come from a town like Belgaum, which is tier
Hmm.
2 city.
Hmm.
I have delivered trainings at Pune, Bangalore,
Hmm. Hmm.
and got a good response from them.
Absolutely.
So it's not necessary that tier 2 cities don't have that.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So they do have great
they
potential,
do
and
have,
you
yeah.
must know that
No,
it works for
the
you.
perspectives are so different,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
than that of a metropolitan city.
Right.
Person
I'm
from
sure.
metropolitan, the perspectives are so different, so different.
Like in what terms? Like in terms of passion?
Passion, the hard work they put into,
Hmm.
yeah, the kind of dedication they have towards the piece of work they're doing in.
Hmm.
It matters. In fact, just on this note, Tata Taj hotels,
Hmm.
they don't hire. They hire people. You know,
Hmm.
the people who are
Hmm.
serving in the
Hmm.
hospitality
Hmm.
industry. They hire them from tier 2 cities. They
Is it?
don't pick anybody from metros,
Okay.
because this Atiti Devo Bhava concept
Huh.
lies so evidently in the tier 2
Evidently.
cities.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Right.
I remember this incident about why this myth is so important. Like,
Hmm.
we used to do some promotion programs to the
Hmm.
institute earlier. And I remember
Hmm.
once going along with one of my old bosses
Hmm.
to one small place
Hmm.
near to Belgaum,
Hmm.
kind of a suburb of Belgaum, kind you can
Hmm.
say, a village setup kind of.
Hmm.
And we were in that town for some work,
Hmm.
and my boss gave a call to my student who was there
Hmm.
studying, and he said, "We are in your town." He says, "Well, please come home." We did go,
Hmm.
and then we saw that Hum Saath Saath Hai wala scene.
Oh
It was a
God, is
big
it?
family, a
Oh
big joint family,
wow.
a vada, what we call, and some 20 people. And when we entered, they all are sitting there.
Okay.
I know that, and then the hospitality we received was
Hmm.
so amazing.
Wow.
Okay,
Okay.
so that level, that respect is there,
Hmm.
that genuinity is there.
Hmm.
Now, on a contrary, cut to coming to my other, I remember how I was traveling to one of my relative in Pune, and I just gave her a call and I said, "Hey, I'm in Pune. If
Hmm.
you're Arey, you could have called me some 4 days back now. I
Oh.
was so busy with this. I said, I'm not going to come home. I said,
Huh.
I'm so and so mall. I'm
Huh.
there, and it's very close to your home. If you're there,
Huh.
just
Happen to say
let
hi.
me just try. I respect the opinion that you hold,
Right.
but
Right.
definitely to be considered how. So I feel the tier 2 city, the genuinity comes out
Hmm.
in terms of the work they put in,
Hmm. Hmm.
in all forms,
In all forms.
hospitality to possibly the work they give in all forms. Yeah. So
Absolutely.
the three myths I feel are very important to
Very
bust it. Yeah.
important to know.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've understood three important things here is that teachers are not boring. They
Absolutely.
are jovial and they are happy and they are very well dressed and they are not these old hags.
Right, right.
So that's one thing. Old people, nothing like that. Everyone has a different appearance. So one is that. The
Mm.
second thing you said is
About the older you get,
old
the knowledge you get.
knowledge you
Yeah.
have. So it's nothing to do with the number of years that you've taught.
Mm.
It's to do with your experience. Wisdom doesn't come with age.
Yeah. It doesn't come with age.
Yeah. So he says wisdom doesn't come with age.
Need not come with age.
Need
Need
not
not
come
come.
with age.
Yeah.
And the last one is that have the guts to go ahead and probably,
The
go
type,
and like,
yeah, the small town people are also having great potential because of the genuinity they hold. Yeah.
absolutely. So if you have a dream, you're from any city, you should just go ahead and just make sure that you work towards it.
Right.
And
As
it
long
can
as
be
a
from
dream
any
is
city,
valid.
and you will definitely
Yeah.
make it.
As long as a dream is valid.
Yeah, the dream is valid. Today in Spectrum Stories, we spoke to Dr. Prasad Kapileshwari and an entire conversation which was about career, grooming, के कैसे आपके वर्क और पर्सनल लाइफ में बैलेंस होना चाहिए, क्या चीज़ें हैं जो आपको हेल्प करती हैं, क्या चीज़ें हैं जिनके लिए कॉर्पोरेट ट्रेनिंग आपको हेल्प कर सकता है. It was a very interesting conversation. We had a lot of things that we discussed in this interview. And then while leaving, he gave us three very nice and funny myths to be debunked about corporate training. I hope that you watch this episode and take away a lot from this corporate training episode that we've had. Thank you very much for watching us. I'll see you in the next episode with another interesting personality. Bye.